Hello everybody. I just wanted to share with you the chia pudding recipe because somebody had asked me how I make my chia pudding, and it's super easy, and since anybody can do this stuff, I figured that I could show it on camera so it'll be easier for everybody. And first I'm going to start with washing my hands, of course. We should always wash our hands before we deal with our food. So I wet my hands a little bit. Put a bit of soap on my hands. Wash it up on my hands. I can't see my hands, but I'm trying to get it over the sink actually. I'm right here. This is my mom's house, by the way. Doesn't she keep a lovely home? It's a little messy on the shelf there and stuff. Not really. She's not really that messy. That's why I did this in my pajamas, because anybody can do this stuff, and I feel like a lot of times I like to clean underneath my nails, so I use the nails to clean one another, so that's what takes me so long when I wash my hands sometimes, because you have to get the germs out from underneath your fingernails really well. And so I'll sit here and I'll scrub underneath my fingernails for a long time, and people probably think that I'm crazy when all I'm trying to do is actually kill the germs and bacteria. Yeah, I know my YouTube channel is sort of just like about everything that I do, and that's kind of just what I wanted to capture. The kitty knocked over the trash. You're naughty kitty. Hello, kitty. Don't you touch it. There was something in the trash bag, and I moved it over there so it wouldn't be caught on camera, but you naughty thing. When you rinse your hands off, rinse underneath your nails. Rinse underneath your nails really well. And I just use my mom's hand towel. Yes, I'm currently 8 months pregnant. Oh, look, there's Low Kitty. Say hi, kitty. He's like, what are you doing? My mom always keeps really nice, clean stuff all around all the time. So the chia pudding, I got this on clearance, so I had a big bag of chia seeds that I was hoping to use at some point. And you take, I'm going to start out with our dry goods first. I put a pot upside down so I could have it level enough to show you. Oh, I forgot. Here. Like my ingredients here are the chia seeds. I use agave right now because you can use maple syrup or any type of sweetener. I prefer this because it's vegan. I try to stick with my vegan diet. I know some of the items I use are just sort of on hand, like this was in my mom's pantry, so I used some of this to put in here, the cocoa. And then I had gotten this months ago, and I was saving it, and was only able to use it a few times, but the protein powder for peanut butter is always really good. I put more in it prior, but then I didn't have enough, and then I've got this nice overripe, ripening banana, and I like to split it in half to use one in each container so that I can make a container like this. And this had sat about approximately 2 days in the refrigerator, so it was nice and cool, and I stirred it up a little bit. I don't know if you can see it, but since I ended up putting a little bit of granola in there as well, I decided to toss a little bit of what I had left over. It's a little melty in the package, but I found some of these things on sale and on clearance, so it's really not that expensive to have eat a vegan diet. I found these on clearance as well for a good price, and so I just decided I would put some of this. It's got goji berries in it. That's what you might see in here. But I was actually really hungry today, and I was like, let me share with you what I'm doing right now. My mom just left. I don't get an opportunity to be alone in the house very often because my brother was here, but they had something they had to do today. It was really good. And then also for the milk that I use, right now I'm going to use this almond milk. It's unsweetened vanilla. You can also, oh, and I forgot, just a moment. I like to put a little bit of cinnamon. My mom had it on hand. Sprinkle a little cinnamon in there for the flavor, and just a little dash of salt also. So I've got both of my little cups right here, and they'll sit just fine. We will get our banana out. Actually, that's the first thing. I'm sorry, I was trying to get with the dry ingredients, but really, and since my hands are nice and clean, and also I forgot to share with you the measuring supplies. Put about half of the banana, oops, in each one. Put this in the trash. Okay. I don't like to have anything on my hands when I'm cooking and everything, so I forgot my measuring spoon. This is my mom's little measuring spoon. We'll need the tablespoon, and we'll also need, like, this is a ½ cup measuring cup. I didn't see any other ones in her pantry, so I've just been using that. I just use whatever's on hand. So you take your fork, and, oops, there's a little bit of the excess. I don't like that either. I'm going to set it in the sink real quick, clean it up later. I don't like to leave any messes in my mom's house either, because she is so, like, OCD about cleanliness. And, but yeah, I hope everybody's having a good morning too, and doing something productive for themselves. Hopefully this video turns out okay, and I don't get too many haters, trying to say all this nonsense about me. And they don't really see me every day. They don't get to know me on a personal level, and that's why I just don't listen to those types of people. If they're too negative, then get away from me. There's no reason to be that negative. So it is kind of nerve-wracking being on camera and everything, but I want to make sure it's, like, even. I'm really weird about that. I like my balance. Okay. So we're going to use this as a mixing fork. It was nice and clean, so I just go with that. We start off with our chia seeds. You should have dry hands by this time. I mean, to do this, just so you don't get your ingredients everywhere. But 3 tablespoons in each one. I only do 2 at a time because I had the half bananas, so that's how I did it. And it was beneficial so that I had an extra one in the fridge for later. So you don't need those jars necessarily to make your fancy chia pudding that tastes delicious with organic, products and ingredients. And you can find them on clearance and still be happy. There's nothing wrong with the products that are going out of date, or, some of them are recalled items, though. If you do find them on clearance, then they end up, you see them recalled later on. Not good. I don't like it when the little seeds stick in there, because I don't want to get it in my other items. And my hands are fairly clean aside from touching the outside of the bags, which I always have to wonder about. So I always keep everything to the side and everything, because I don't want to contaminate any of my ingredients. So that's why people use random, spoons. You know what I'm saying? So first I start with my mom's cocoa, because I don't want to contaminate her ingredients. And I do about, I'd say about half of a tablespoon. You don't have to have exact measurements. I mean, when you're dealing with some of these things, like the chia pudding, it depends on you. If you don't like it in a certain way, then it's all upon your preferences, what you would prefer it tasting like. Some people don't like chocolate. My mom doesn't like the chocolate. So, and this was the cocoa. I know some people probably watch me without the audio sometimes, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I do know a little bit of sign language, but I need to delve into that a little bit better. See how it's all caked on there. Then I go for my protein powder. You can use regular peanut butter, though. That would work, too. The lid was broken on there. So I use about another, like, half a tablespoon in there, too. because I'm running low on it. So otherwise I would put a little bit more if I wanted to. I like the peanut butter flavor. So, and then plus this already had cocoa in it. I didn't see the problem in sort of sticking the same utensil in there, but I wouldn't recommend just going around your mom's pantry digging around using the same one. That's why I wait. So then I go for these, the goji berry, because it's kind of powdery also, but it also has oats in it. So it's got a lot of random things. And these are just extras. This is all just an extra, and I put about, I'm going to put like a tablespoon in there. About a tablespoon there. It's got the goji berries and cacao. So, and then here's another tablespoon of that. We'll put that in there. Set that to the side. We'll get this granola, since the powder's pretty much come off of that. I don't worry about contaminating some of these items because they'll be gone soon. So I try to keep it all, you know, keep it together. So about a tablespoon of that as well, and it's got like little strawberries in there, strawberry bits. Oops, sorry. I'm going to have to sweep the floor later. Yeah, you don't want to make messes in other people's homes. I noticed that too, and so I've always been really polite about the way I do things. So we'll set this to the side also, and also, that's all you really need when you're making it. You just do a little touch, since we did so much sweetener in here, and we have I need to use that for my, and I set it on a nice clean countertop so that I wouldn't infect anything, or, also, I'll wait for that until I get done with the cinnamon, and I don't like to touch everything with dirty hands, so I just do a little bit of cinnamon in each one. And it doesn't matter, like I said, it's on preference, so sometimes you learn and sometimes you don't want certain things in there, and you do need a little bit of salt. So the main ingredients that you need are the chia seeds, any type of sweetener, and your milk. So, but then also if you want to put like a dash of, this is sea salt, so it's a little bit, you know, there's more, that's why I have to shake it a little bit harder, but there's like some chunks in there. I don't know if you can see, there's like chunks all up in there. But yeah, so I just put a little bit of sprinkle in there, because it's my preference. Then I'm going to take also the sweetener, so now I've got all my dry goods, and then I put about a tablespoon, one tablespoon in each one. I won't lick my fingers on camera, but generally when I'm doing this at the very end like that, I'll scoop it out and lick it and then rinse up my fingers real quick. I won't gross you guys out. It's a little messy in there. Okay, so now we've got our sweetener, and we're going to need 3/4 of a cup of milk for each one. So I hope that you made sure that you had enough milk too, because what you're doing with all these, like the tablespoons, 3 tablespoons of the chia seeds, and then now we're going on to our liquid, which, like I said, I have to just sort of guess, because here's a 1/2 cup, and then I just do about half of it, just sort of eyeballing it, and that's 3/4 of a cup. So, because half of a half is a quarter. So, sometimes you can use whatever you've got on hand, as long as you can, and you can even Google this information. So now we're on to our milk, and I had just enough. There's a tiny, tiny bit left in there. I'm going to save that though. I don't want it to, to mess up the pudding and the consistency that I enjoy. So I'm going to set this aside. And take a bite of this. You shouldn't eat while you're touching other people's food. But since I know I'm the only one that's going to eat this, it's not so bad for me. Because this is my mom's house. It's kind of like my house for the moment. I make my homes where I can find them. See, this is a little bit powdery, see, because of the cocoa, so you have to be very careful when you're mixing it. So if you just sort of keep your fork down and spin it around, just sort of on the ground there, it'll spin some of those, on the base of the container. Not the ground. The bottom of the container, just sort of mix it up. And I use a fork because it helps me to get all the little particles mixed together well. So, yeah. See how it's sort of like bubbling up on the top? I don't normally hold it this high up. I set it on the counter when I'm stirring it because it makes it so much easier. So normally you set it on the surface and then you're going to stir it up really good and make sure it's like beating eggs and everything. My arm jiggles. See, and it's like getting all the little bubbles out of there too. I just like to give it a really good stir. I like to sit here for a minute to make sure it's stirred up nice and well. Now, and then, see, since this is the same thing, I just flip it straight over to the next one. No need to rinse it or anything because it's the same thing. And again, like I said, you're not supposed to be holding it up and stirring it like I am. I'm only doing that so you can get a visualization of what's going on. So, I set it down on my surface and I whip it about because there's still those banana pieces in the very bottom, remember? Because I mashed the banana first. So, we don't want that sloshing everywhere and making a mess everywhere. So, you got to stabilize your container. Hold it with the one hand if you can. Or get a bowl that is nice and heavy and won't stir, and you can stir it in a bowl and then pour it into your container. So, but I just do this easy because then I don't make any messes with any extra things. I've got 3 items to clean up after this, and then the containers that go in the refrigerator. And you have to refrigerate it for at least 2 hours approximately, or you can leave it overnight. I'm doing this at nearly 9 o'clock in the morning, so they'll just be ready for the following days. So sometimes you can leave it in there for about 2 days, I would say. It's okay. And this will be fine. This will be for tomorrow's breakfast and then the following day, or in between a snack. And I'll eat about half of it because it makes quite a bit because I put those added ingredients into it, like the banana. So make sure that your container, let's see, these usually have a label on them somewhere to say, but I would say about 8 ounces at the very least. So you'd have to have at least an 8-ounce container. You see the difference in my hand and the size of it. So I guess and next to the milk carton, you see how big that is. So this is a half gallon of milk, and this is one of those, it would have to be at least 8 to 10 ounces, I would believe, because this container holds a little bit more than that. But then also to stir it, you want to use a tiny bowl. See how big these ones are. My mother got these ones at the dollar store. So you can find little 2-packs, I believe, of this size over there. And it doesn't have a label to it, so I'm not really sure what the sizing of it is. See, it's approximately 3/4 of a cup, and 1 cup is 8 ounces. So it's approximately 6 ounces at the very least for liquid. But then you have tablespoons in there of 3 tablespoons of chia seeds and 1 tablespoon of your sweetener. So that makes you, you're getting to be about 10 ounces when you add your dry ingredients in there as well, especially with all the extra things that I had used in mine. I like to use organic products as much as I can. But like I said before, if you can't seem to manage that financially, that's okay too. they do have digital coupons, and they have savings programs and digital coupons with different stores. It depends on where you go. So I like going to, and I know this is, but like the Kroger. So, and that's where I get a lot of stuff. Walmart has a lot of stuff too. And like, I'm not trying to name drop or whatever. That's just where I go and how I manage. Oh, look at the consistency. It's already started to become gelatinous. So become like a jelly. Look at that. It's nice. It's gonna, like I said, it'll take at the very least 2 hours. Gelatinize? Is that right? Anyway, but yeah. So, but yeah, we're all done with this. And it's okay. I'll just eat the chia seeds too. It's not dangerous to eat them when they're not fully. Not too sweet, which is good. It makes it just right for me, because I sometimes will add a little bit of extra sweetener just in case it's not sweet enough. But like I said before, if you're working with a budget and you're working with a certain amount of items, then I would say use something sparingly where you can. Like I started using less of the peanut butter powder, but this is going to have a wonderful flavor later on. And I end up, and here's the 2 nice clean lids. Let's see. Oh, I got some powder on there on the very top of this one from having it over there. See, everything we do, it just disperses germs and disperses particles everywhere. So there's tiny little bits of the powder where I was reaching over with this one. Yep. I keep an eye on all this stuff. That's why I'm so strange to people, because they think that I'm overdoing it, but I'm like, or sometimes I guess. But now they stack really nicely, and then I'm going to put them in the fridge. And don't mind my mom's messy fridge. I'm messy too. Look at me. I'm pregnant by a man that I met for 12 hours. That's interesting. I just never thought that could be a plausibility for me. So yeah. And don't mind the door of the fridge. I haven't helped my mom fix all of that, and then I was, trying to organize. Yeah, in my pajamas. I mean, then I've got 2 meals for the next couple days in that way. And then this one has sat, like I said, for 2 days. So it's even had time to get really thick. And sometimes, like when it's just one day, it's a little bit smoother and creamier. It also depends on how much milk you use. I mean, I could toss a little milk in here too and stir it up and it'll be good. Again, not good again. It's still good. It's really good. But anyway, today is July 13th, 2022. Leticia Collins serving. And I hope you guys enjoyed me making my chia pudding this morning. I know that's kind of like a tutorial in that way, and I didn't mean for it to be. But somebody had asked me, and I figured that I would share it that way. They actually asked me on my Instagram page, because I'll post pictures of the food that I make on there. And actually, I made some last night. I made some from scratch peanut butter cookies. So these were really easy to make too, with just some flour and some sugar, whatever my mom had on hand, and the peanut butter. And I put a little cocoa and cinnamon in it. I'm just kind of talking over it. Our germs get all over the food, They do. And they absorb into the particles of the food. My blood, sweat, and tears go into my food. That's weird to think about, So, here. There you go. Isn't that nice? That's nice. And I also made spaghetti. I made spaghetti yesterday, and this one is a vegan version, so you can get alternatives of the Parmesan. And I made French bread. The bread itself was like 2 loaves approximately that size, 2 loaves, and I sliced them in half, and I used vegan butter and garlic powder, because that's all we had on hand, with a little salt and olive oil, stirred it together when the butter was soft, and then I placed it, my mother actually helped me place it onto the bread, and then we sprinkled it with the Parmesan. I can't wait to eat this later. It'll be good. But I had some last night. We had it last night with spaghetti that I made with the Impossible sausage, which turned out okay. It was not so bad. Not sausage, it was the meatballs. And so, yeah, so it was Impossible brand meatballs. And that tasted pretty good. They tasted good. I've had their sausage, and their sausage smells weird when you're cooking it. But, I mean, sometimes it's delicious. Tastes just like the real thing, the alternatives for the vegan stuff. And they're not really that expensive. A lot of stuff is not. I better get after the kitty. He's after his catnip roll. But I hope everybody's doing well, and I love you very much. And if you ever want to, like I said, take a look at what I make. Sometimes some of the items I cook, I place on my social medias, like Facebook I used to, and then also Instagram. There's a lot of the things that I like to cook and just sort of maintain myself in a healthful way. And what can you see? It's not on there. Can't see it. Okay. But anyway, I hope everybody has a good day, and thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. I didn't expect subscribers or people to ask me for things, but I figured I would just share the things that I do in my life anyway, and that's why I did this video, just for the people that had asked how to make chia pudding and what ingredients I use and what's the amounts. And if I were able to edit videos, I would do more, and I would probably not share or disclose so much, but really it doesn't matter to me, you know? And we're on camera essentially all the time anyway. That's what I talk about. Like, nothing can be hidden. I just play. Okay, well, anyway, have a great week, and I hope that everything is going well with you. I hope you have a blessed week. Bye-bye. Oh, yeah, again, the date, July 13th, 2022. Leticia Collins Servin. Bye-bye.